Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to make this announcement twice just so you guys make sure everybody ends up hearing it. For those that were invited to dinner tonight, which was most everybody in the room, but it's the way Amazon sponsorships work because they're not involved in this conference, but they're involved in the dinner. Dinner will be at 6:30 at Fido's. It's about a half mile the other way from the hotel. If you are so inclined, Mike, the Lime bikes, the Lime scooters? Yeah, we like the Lime scooters. Just be really careful if you ride them. They are fun. Please ride them there. Walk home. Do not drink and ride. Okay? Do not drink and ride. Tonight at dinner, we are going to be having part of our dinner activity. Usually we keep it a surprise, but I'm going to tell you guys because I want you to do a little prep. We're going to be having trivia night. So after dinner, we're going to have trivia night. We have cash prizes for trivia night, and you need to be in a team of at least 6. I think we're going to cap it at like 10. But at least 6 people in a team. So start kind of organizing yourselves and stuff like that. Peter, yeah. It's going to be all trivia. There may be some Amazon, Google sponsored trivia thrown in there too. Okay, so we're going to move on now to our second half of day 1, where we're really focusing on traffic. And what better way to start talking about traffic than to be thinking about what else can you expand off of Amazon. So I'm happy to introduce John from Google. And John's going to come up and talk about a new Google shopping experience that's launched. It's just recently launched, or it's in the process of launching. Yeah, so it's like in mid-launch, and give you guys kind of early access to understand what it is and how it can help you benefit your business. So we'll jump right into it.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. I think I have that. There you go. Great. What a lead-in. That was awesome. I grew up in a British pub, so trivia night sounds pretty awesome to me. Where should I put this? I'll put this where it's being filmed, so Game of Thrones style, I'll put it in the shot. Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is John Kennard. I'm part of the Google Shopping Strategy and Business Development team. I'm based in the LA office for Google, so I'm not in Mountain View headquarters, so I'm there frequently. And what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be explaining our direction, our business, how the scope is changing. I like to do things up front and sort of tell you what I'm going to tell you. So the short story here is we're building a distributed marketplace across our properties. We're going to capture this distributed intent and give sellers, merchants, the opportunity to convert the customer higher in a path to purchase, which doesn't really exist. There's no such thing as a path. And in particular, it's the businesses in this room that we think are fuel to drive this marketplace and to actually spin the wheel. And it's the work that you do to ship fast and predictably. Some of that isn't just you, obviously, and we're working on that. But it's also low defect rate, great pricing, great customer service, and a predictable business, right? We've sort of realized, hey, there's a lot of value from the merchants such as yourself who are doing great work on other platforms. And really what we want to do is say, we're bending towards you. We see you, we know there's value here, and what we'd like to do is tell you what we're working on, and in the process, invite you to participate early. Let's see, do I have the buttons? Press this way, that way, this way, that way, this button, not that button. Hey, Jeff, what am I doing here? Oh, Eric's here to save me. Oh, okay, hold on. It's just gonna be this. This is very cool though, high tech. Yeah, I can just press the button as well if required. My coffee's here and everything. So. Great, thanks. Hey, as a show of hands, just before we start, how many of you sell on more than one marketplace? Super, that's awesome, thank you. Very, very relevant. Okay, so this image, someone in our brand team used this slide, and I thought, hey, this is cool, but not for the reason that they were using it for. So on the brand side, some of you are emerging brands yourself, you may think like, this is choice today, right? Understanding from a consumer what products I should be buying. This is a dollar store, in fact, and I just really like the colors and whatever else. That's a way to think of it from a consumer perspective, but I actually flip it and think of it from your perspective as the merchant, right? So if you participate in multiple marketplaces, or you're considering where's the next marketplace that I'm going to participate in, you have to make some sort of opportunity cost decision, right? You have to make some investment decision. And frankly, if I were you, I would argue that until now, there's been very good reason to just keep pouring your money back into Amazon, right? The return that you get from spending that dollar for more assortment or faster pricing or deeper catalogs, what's up, Jerry, is generally going to get you a better return, right? If you look at all the other options, if it's global, if it's eBay, if it's Walmart, there are challenges, right, with each of them in terms of making those decisions. The thing that I'd like to talk about more than anything is that we look at Amazon as this sort of powerhouse, which they are, and I won't use their name too much. I have a great respect for them as a business, the work that they do, the structure of their data. There's so much to really admire, but that's not the whole shopping experience. In fact, when we think about shopping, we think of it as this linear path to purchase, right? I consider, then I review, then I go progressively down, and then Amazon captures me at the bottom and converts me, right? That's effectively the way that we sort of think about it. The reality is that it is not a linear journey. It is very much fragmented. So think about a considered purchase that you've made in the past, right? If you're going to buy a new espresso machine, or you're going to buy a TV, or you're going to buy that face wash that you did for the first time, the reality is that you loiter, you bang around, you jump from here to there. You may look at a review online. You may do a search for that. You may look at YouTube, right? If you're buying a consumer electronics product, 2/3 of you are going to watch a video before you actually buy that product. So there's all these moments of intent where someone is saying, hey, I'm considering this. And today, we haven't given them viable pathways to actually convert that, right? So when that intent shows itself, wherever it is, we should be capturing that intent. And if you think about those considered journeys, we've done some work on this to study what the impact is. And so for those considered transactions, it's a very long time. So 2-3 months, 1 to 3 months for each of these products. So if you're buying face wash, or you're buying that dress that you really like, or you're buying the Bose headphones or the Beats headphones or what have you, look at all the different places. And this isn't something we made up. We tracked a significant sample size and actually watched how people made considered purchases. So this idea that someone just decides and they transact, that's not really how it happens, right? It's how it eventually happens, particularly stuff that you've decided on already. That's a very neat business if you can get in front of it, but that's not the entire transaction. And then if you take another step back and you think about disparate data pools, so where do you get the signal about your intent? Where is it that you know that someone's going to transact? Well, you kind of don't, right? They're already in the bottom of the funnel and they convert, right? They consider a few options and they make the transaction. However, I mentioned a few of those different properties. We now have 8 properties with 1 billion users each. So 8 properties, 1 billion users each. We have 500 million devices that are assistant enabled, right? So voice is nascent but emerging, right? 10 years, everyone will be using voice for search. I think that's a reasonable assumption. And I think if you think about the way people use Google products, and in particular, trust Google products, the way you trust Google products, the way you use Gmail, the way you use Maps, think about the signal we give to you from a consumer perspective, right? You know and you trust Google. So what we're thinking is that today what we're doing is we're not creating that causal link, right? We're not creating the opportunity when someone says, hey, I want to buy this product. We're not giving them the opportunity to do that. And we're not giving them the opportunity to do that from the best merchants possible. Well, you guys. So the idea of what we're thinking, and we're doing it through a product called Shopping Actions, I'll explain it, but effectively we're building a distributed marketplace, right? So where we have all of this intent, where we have all of this power and these disparate data signals telling us this customer is ready to buy, give them the opportunity through a consistent transaction fabric that works across the different properties. So we're in the early stages now, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But generally, it goes to this idea of giving ultimate choice to the consumer, right? And ultimate choice is not just, do I want it shipped same day, or do I want it shipped in 2 days or 5 days? It's, do I want to pick it up in store? Do I want someone to deliver it to me in the next hour? Really, you should be thinking about ubiquity, because if you consider online transactions versus offline, the vast majority of transactions still exist in the offline world, right? Retailers haven't been worried about e-commerce for 15 years. They're very worried now. But when I started in e-commerce 15 years ago, no one cared about e-commerce because it was a very marginal part of the business. It's an emerging part of the business. They understand now how they have to invest, and they're playing catch up. And I think we're well positioned for the traditional retailers to help them catch up. But frankly, like the whistle is blown, people are out of the starting gates, and it's in particular marketplace sellers who adhere to specific deterministic policy that are the best at merchandising, the best at shipping products that are not broken or defective or whatever, because you have to be, right? If you don't do that, you don't survive on the platform and you get suppressed to death, right? And so we've sort of had this realization, I've done it again. Oh no, how do I get out of this? Eric, save me. Did everyone get the Game of Thrones joke? It was all right, right? It wasn't the best, but I think if you just press over here, oh yeah, there you go. Beauty. Thanks, man, appreciate you. So then let's show you what it actually looks like. So Shopping Actions is the name. It's meant to talk about the transaction fabric, right? So we have a number of products. It's difficult for us to name stuff at Google. And we already have a Google Shopping property. We already have an Express property. I'm not going to comment on any of that at the moment. I will say, however, that Shopping Actions, what it is it's that transaction fabric. So again, go back to the fact that we have 8 properties with 1 billion plus users. We also have hundreds of millions of stored value credit cards, hundreds of millions of addresses on file. Again, speak back to the trust and safety and security that people have from using Google products. And hey, as we start to get more and more assortment, this will become more and more visible. And so where we are currently is, the idea behind Shopping Actions is that it is a consistent sort of checkout experience that you'll have whether you're on search, whether you're on shopping, whether you're on assistant, whether you're on figure out what the next platforms are, right? Very soon I'll be able to tell you that, not today though. And then, so you'll see here, search, Google Shopping, and Assistant. These are our 3 properties. But again, think of it as wherever the intent is. And I've mentioned some of the areas where there is real intent, right? So if you think about images as a front door to shopping, how many people look at images to look at a couch or look at a dress or look at we have so much unconverted traffic. And in particular today, the places that we've been pushing them are not as effective as pushing them to Amazon, quite frankly. However, we're pretty good at this. We're pretty good at trusting understanding the consumer, having the consumer trust us, and also being able to reach them at scale. So as soon as we get our horse in the race, I suspect what you'll find is a massive platform that will grow exceptionally quickly. And what I mean by that is last year at this time, we had 40 merchants on the platform, and they were traditional brick and mortar, all the big box guys that you know and you love, but it's only 40 of them, right? So can they give us all the assortment? Can they give us the best price? Can they give us the fastest ship? Probably not. So we've started to expand. We've been approving, whitelist feels like a weird word, but we've been bringing in certain beta merchants. We're now at 1,300, so we've grown 7x in the last year, and we're expecting to grow another 7x in the next year. So how do we go and get 10,000 sellers, and in particular, The best 10,000 sellers is to come and speak with groups like yourself, right? So what we're looking for are merchants who can bring great assortment, and I'll talk about some of the tips and tricks. We're looking for assortment across the board, right? In particular, we think that consumer electronics, sporting goods, health and beauty, home and garden are very easy and transactable spaces for us, right? There's fairly high intent, low consideration. People know what they want to get, and if we can give it to them, they're going to transact. And I would think about that as your assortment strategies if and when you join our platform. But then generally, I would say just from a high level in terms of what the potential benefit for you guys are. So it's a marketplace where there is, and this is the sort of a selly part of it, but it's a marketplace where there's no cost to list, there's no cost to join, there's no cost to maintain, there's no hidden fees. The rate card is going to be roughly less than what you're paying today, roughly 25% less. So most everything is at 12%. There are not storage fees or anything like that. We do require that you're able to fulfill the products today by yourself, but we are very quickly working on solutions to help you unmoat from FBA or wherever else you are. And ultimately, I think that, I really jumped ahead here. I think that the benefit for you is that if you're considering, hey, I need to get into other channels and I need a meaningful channel, then just know that we are it. We are invested in this business. We understand the impact of having people start their product journey with us, but also the impact of finishing their product journey with us. And so we're going to be deep in this space. And I think the opportunity for you is if we are at 1,300 today and we're going to 10,000, think about who the biggest sellers on Amazon are. Think about who the biggest sellers on Amazon 10 years ago were. Cross that list, see if they're the same. They're probably pretty similar, right? So the same mechanisms that drive your store's health today, so predictable and fast shipping, great assortment, great pricing, low defect rates, these are the same wheels that will spin our marketplace. And so you're well positioned to join the platform. What I'm doing today is inviting you all in, and I'll show you sort of how you can do that and the various ways that you can learn about the platform. But I think that the key takeaways when you're considering us as another platform, the prominent merchant branding. So we want the store to be front and center. We want the brand to be front and center. We are not a disintermediator. We are not someone who is going to become a retailer. We don't sell any of our own products except for Google branded products, right? It's a very important distinction. We have trust with the user. They use us in so many different ways that we'll have so many different touch points. So the traditional retailer can think about maps and local and whatever else. Think about Gmail. Think about reordering from Gmail. And this is me not telling you anything that's happening, just what I think of in terms of the various ways that we could unlock utility and actually get your product in front of the customer at the moment of intent and get them to transact. The model, again, is entirely pay per sale. So roughly 12% at the high mark, right? So pretty attractive for you to come in. And then we're going to be getting better and better about telling you what to do. I had a fun chat with Eric Heller, who was kind enough to call Google's data set not as structured as Amazon, right? I think that's a fair thing to say. But it's because we have so many different pools. But what I can tell you is that what you're investing in today is the early days, right? We're still putting these things together. But we understand that being able to tell our merchants, hey, these are the products that need to be sold. Hey, here's where you could get a sale by changing the price or increasing the assortment or regionalizing your products. We're going to be doing all that stuff. We just haven't done it yet. We're still in early days. And I hope the way that you would all think of it is that that's a pretty exciting opportunity. It's a chance for you to start building maturity and actually speaking to our system and telling our system, hey, I'm a good merchant, hey, I'm a good merchant, hey, I'm a good merchant. I did it again, come on. It's just insane how I can't help myself. I've got the wrong button. I got it, Eric, I think I got it. Cool. Let's see if I can do it one more time. No, I did it again. That was on purpose. Sorry. Best and the brightest. Thank you. I promise. I won't do it again. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay, so I've talked a little bit about why you should join. I'll stick around and be available for questions about the nuance. I'm giving you the very, very high level. I'm giving you the, hey, we exist discussion, and I hope you're hearing it, and it's asking you to ask questions, and you're going to dig in a little bit deeper, because I think if you look at us closely, you'll say, hey, this is a real opportunity, and there's real scale here. But the way that you participate is like any other marketplace. You sign up, you go to merchants.google.com, I'll show it to you in a minute. You give us your business information, you show us that you're a trusted person, you opt in your products as you would any other way, so manual, feed, API. We're hooked in with various feed management services, so if you use one of those, great. We're going to cajole the Seller Labs folks. Thank you so much for having a great, for hosting us here today. We're going to cajole them to build their products for our platform as well. But again, think of it as early days. But we do have the basic hooks, so content API, orders API. We do have partners who can help with that, but generally it's fairly accessible technical work. If you have some mildly competent people, they can definitely do it. And then simply it's just a matter of setting up that stuff, setting up your various merchant profile and how quickly you'll ship. Like any other thing, it's a different system than Amazon's. It's a different system than Walmart's or eBay's, but generally there are some commonalities and there are resources there to do it. But ultimately there should be no barrier to entry other than you're making either an inventory decision or an opportunity cost decision. And we hope it's not bug-free, but it's certainly getting better. And then what I would say to you just as like the inside track, we have one or two folks here that have actually integrated into Shopping Actions. Again, it's early days, but we're on our way. The way I would talk about or think about as a business, how you should be thinking about listing on our platform, we're looking for products, right? So the maximum assortment that you can bring us is valuable. So I would say don't, you know, it's traditional in a marketplace to set up your store and load a product and see how it does. That's not the way our system works. Think of it as query and response, right? So every query has a commensurate response, and the response is the product. So the more products you have, the more queries you have, the more queries you can access, and the more transactions you can actually get. So I'd start there. I would say be thoughtful about price. So yes, if the logistics piece is going to be more expensive because it's less efficient, you have to consider those things. But just think about the way that you're setting price, and the more competitive you are, the more interesting you are to our systems. So the shipping piece, for those of you that are moded and using, you know, sort of one sort of locked-in group, there are options out there for you to use. Other services, we're developing some very interesting stuff, but I would say generally, if you're selling on other marketplaces, leverage that second piece of that second inventory group, and then generally we're gonna get better and better about telling you what's happening on the platform. So as you look at it today, just know it's still early days. And I did it again. I can't, that time again was accidental. And that's really, guys, that's it in terms of the, let's see if I can do it. Yeah, there we go, did it, okay. I did it, Eric, not you. You were gone. So the two places that I would look at if you want to learn more information, merchants.google.com, shopping.actions-support is a hilarious email for support. But I would look at these two things. And I would say to this group, we haven't thought of a good way to collect your interest, but I know you're all sellers of a certain caliber, and you're serious sellers, right? That's why you're here, that's why you're doing that. So what I would say is, I'm certainly happy to create, what I would say is, if you'd like to come into a cohort where we're actually gonna manage your onboarding and whatever else, and my team's gonna hate me for this, come here and just put Seller Labs in the title. Put Seller Labs in the title, and what we'll do is we'll figure out a way to compile you together and that we can actually track and monitor your onboarding and be maybe a bit more of a useful resource to help you get online. And so I think that's the thing I can offer you today. That is pretty valuable just because our system and anyone who's actually integrated, we're still figuring out what we don't know, right? We're still building a marketplace when we haven't had a marketplace previously. And so bear with us. Send an email here, put Seller Labs in the title. I will pull it into a group, and we'll figure out how to make sure that you get on board. And that's it. That's all I've got. So
thank you. Yeah, and thanks, John.
Thank you.